Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more hip hop news. And just to give my insight on this Lil Boosie versus DJ Vlad situation. Now, it's one of those important situations in hip hop for people that aspire to be not just in hip hop, but just to be in business, especially in the entertainment business and how the business works and your leverage points and hindsight things to Monday morning quarterback type situations to learn from if you ever inspire to be in the entertainment industry because it is a very fickle one and it's also very what have you done for me lately. So one of the most productive producing duos or streaming duos or one of the figures in hip hop has been over the last couple of years has been DJ Vlad and Lil Boosie, and they have a relationship that goes back decades, right? So they've had business done together. They've they've built this friendship and they've built this business at the same time, which most people frown upon, mixing the friendship with business as well. So that's a factor as well. But I'm kind of torn between the two on this discrepancy because I see both points, but one of the points I believe is more I side with a little bit more just for the simple fact of it being a black man having to deal with equity, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But just to give you a little context, Vlad is saying that he provided Lil Boosie with a piece or a larger piece of the pie when it comes to revenue sharing as regards to their videos and what the revenue that it generates, right? So he's saying that he's taken lesser of the pie, but he's friends with Boosie, so he allowed it to go on for a long time. But Boosie is requesting or has requested a larger amount now that will put Vlad in an even bigger deficit. So he's saying that, hey, I can't take that much of a deficit because I will basically be doing it for not even for free. I'll be actually paying money to interview you, essentially. And Vlad is also claiming that Boosie has diminishing returns on the revenue generated now from their videos because they've done so many interviews at this point. Um, Diminishing returns is coming back. So he's making all these claims on his end, and Boosie is saying that, "Hey, I made Vlad TV lit when your brand was diminishing because people were saying that you were a part of law enforcement, that you were exploiting the culture, that you were negative and bad for the culture, which some people are still saying." Um, so Boosie is saying that I've did all these things for you, and I still get great videos. It might not be to the level of 6 million or whatever over time that it used to be, but I'm still being productive and I'm still one of your better hosts because people look forward to a Boosie interview, regardless of what people say, like the DJ academics of the world and people like that, DJ Envy and things like that. So he's still one of those people that I watch the interviews for because he's going to give you an honest, candid response and not one of these PC responses that these people that are media trained do. He's going to give you honest feedback and all these things, and we like that about Boosie. So a lot of people watch Vlad TV just for that reason, and he doesn't allow Vlad to manipulate him into talking about things that can get him incarcerated or anything like that. But Boosie is saying I haven't done a video with Vlad in 7 months, so I've actually saved him money because he hasn't had to pay me in 7 months. So I'm kind of getting it on the back end. Pause. But in summation, I think Vlad created the problem for himself by paying these guests. And in paying these guests, most other platforms wasn't doing that, especially for podcasting. They were people who were doing it just for the promotion and it helped both people because hey, you get the free promotion, I get the viewership and the money, we both win. But Vlad went outside of the box to start paying these artists and entertainers because I think his platform wouldn't got these people otherwise. See, my platform is small, but if I had enough money and enough capital, I can just go pay one of these artists and say, "Hey, you want to do my podcast? I'll pay you $100,000," and they'll do it. No, and then I'll be on top of the world like nothing. But since you don't have that, since I don't have those resources, I'm not able to do that. So Vlad did. He took a chance and was able to do this and got his platform to where it is today with five, 6 million subscribers. So he's able to do that. Um, but you can't be mad when people quote what they're worth that quote their worth, because their worth is their worth. But Boosie, I mean not Boosie, Vlad gets mad when a Marlon Wayans said, "Well, I want equity, I want money, and I want equity," and he's like, "I can't give you that." Well, you can't get an interview from Marlon Wayans. Obviously, you seek them out. He was obviously somebody profitable and somebody that you felt like you can make profit off of. But if you can't give them what its worth is, don't get into money paying business because people are going to give you their worth, and you can't get mad, or you shouldn't get mad, or not. Don't have the You shouldn't have the privilege of getting mad because they quoted their worth. You gave them a price, and they said, "No, that's not it." And Marlon has done a lot of things, and it's from a legendary family. Has a lot of classic works. He's going to cost a little bit more if you're in the money paying business. Um, but Boosie, on the other hand, I think he was warned by the culture, saying that Vlad is a culture vulture, i.e., Adam 22, that will use, the blacks and people of the culture as a talent, but never will give them equity and make us disposable at any point. And a lot of people warned Boosie on that, and Boosie knew he had a friendship with him before, so he kind of didn't heed to the warning. And now he's understanding that he was a disposable piece all along from Vlad. Because Boosie, I think, has some accountability in this well, because not only should he heeded to the warnings that the hip hop community has been giving him, but he also should have used his successful interviews with Vlad to launch his own platform a while ago, years ago. Because if you look at the careers of Gangster Williams, what he did, um, there's 1090 Jake did, and others. They've used the Boost. They used the Vlad platform to get their own platforms and been very successful at it. These guys have over 500,000 subscribers and doing great video numbers, and has this engagement fan base that they might not have had if it wasn't for Vlad. But they've said, "Hey, I'll do a couple interviews with Vlad just to get my name out there, open my own platform, and build off of that." Because Vlad is never going to give you equity. He's one of those guys that sits on the money and will give you a dollar here or two just to make, $20 for himself, but he's never going to give you equity, especially as a brother in hip hop. He's never going to give you that. So you should have seen the foresight to be able to see that, and to see the younger talents do that, like a 1090 Jake, Gangsta Williams. I'm pretty sure there's several others that have done this to get their own platforms, uh, off the back of the Vlad interviews, because the first couple of interviews, you're going to reach the peak of viewership. So then that was your opportunity to get to the next level, to get your own platform, to get your own TV show, your own podcast, your own whatever that you can do, because Boosie has a personality to where people love his personality. If he has his own podcast, i.e., also, um, the podcast that um, Tony Yayo has with Uncle Murder. They did the same thing. They did a couple Vlad interviews, went straight to get their own podcast, and they're doing numbers now. So it's all about venturing off into your own. And Vlad always says he won't stop you from getting your own money, but in the back of his mind, he wants you to just to work for him and get your money, similar to the regular 9 to 5 day trap. You work for me, and then it takes away from your goals because you're too focused on doing what you're doing for me. And that is what Vlad is becoming. And he essentially paused, drained Boosie for all of his content. So now, if he takes those stories anywhere else, we already know those. But Boosie's story is not in, well, his value is not in the stories, more so it's valued in current event topics, like giving his insight on current events, giving his unique perspective, or his unfiltered commentary on situations that just happened. And he's going to speak on those and give you how he feels. And then a lot of time we might feel the same way on certain topics. I don't agree with everything that Boosie says, of course, because he's a lot old fashioned in his thinking. But a lot of things on the business side of things, when he talks, it makes a lot of sense. and he's very business minded, and he came a long way in the business mindset. But Vlad, if he was truly giving Boosie more of the revenue when he received it, he should have just made it clear in the beginning so it can be and out in the open. Now, if you just doing the under table deals, like I'm looking out for my man here, I'm not gonna let him know. And then when he comes and asks for value, then you say, "Oh, well, I've been giving you this all along." It just seems like a little shady to me, because if taking a bigger piece of the pie, I'm gonna say, "Hey, man, I'm taking you taking 35, I'm getting about 15. So just letting you know I'm taking a little cut here." Just to let them know so they don't come back later and be like, "Hey, can I get a bigger piece of the pie?" They already know that you're in a deficit. They already know that you're doing it off the love. So this Vlad and Boosie situation, I'm on Boosie's side in it more so than Vlad's, but I think Boosie did himself a disservice by trusting in Vlad, and when never asked for equity when he was the most valuable as well. But I think the biggest thing is knowing that Vlad wasn't going to look out for him in the long run, because he drained him of all his content, everything he can get from him. And now when the numbers go down a little bit, he says, "Well, you don't have the same value." It's essentially to what they do to running backs in the NFL. They put 5,000 touches on them, and then after um, they've dropped down precipitously, they let them go or they devalue their price. So it's the same thing they're doing. But I think Boosie's starting to find out what Lord Jamar and what Godfrey found out the hard way, is that Vlad is eating off a culture that doesn't belong to him, or he's not really essentially a part of. So tell me your thoughts about the DJ Vlad and Lil Boosie situation. And until next time, I'll see you next time.